Hi Flosstube, it's Lynn, the Canadian Stitcher. Hello and welcome. I think this is my video number 34, if I'm not mistaken. I'm here for a 2-week update on a couple of things I got in the mail and also my progress on 5 projects that I've been working on. I just want to say I watched my last video back and when the cat tried to open the door. That was really creepy. I noticed it after. I just kind of went, oh, Lucy's trying to get in, but I had a little bin sitting in front of the door, so I knew he couldn't open the door, but he tried to open it and the door just opened a little bit. That was creepy. Sorry for that if anybody was creeped out. I think I've been watching too many psychological thrillers on Netflix. Anyway, sorry for that. So we'll do some questions and comments first. So I just want to say thank you all for the nice compliments that you've all been giving me, especially on the Lavender and Lace, the Angel of Summer. She's been quite a challenge for me this summer, but I'm plugging along and I'll show my progress on her in a few minutes. So I had taken her partly off the Q-snap last week to show how I had done the gold stitching on the bodice and how that had turned out, so you got to see kind of more the full view of her. When I have the Q-snap kind of set up perfectly where I want it, I tend to try to leave it as long as I can. The updates might not be as good if I showed the whole thing, but it's just easier for me than having to take them off and reset them all the time. So, Cat Gallant asked me what fabric I'm stitching the angel on. And this is what it is. I don't know what it is. It's not labeled. It is a 32 count linen. It's very, very fine, as you can see. You can see all the way right through it. I bought it at a stitching shop when I bought the patterns. So I bought all 4 patterns and I bought the fabric for all 4. And I don't know if this is the called for fabric, which I believe is Weigart, or whether she didn't have that and we substituted it, or what happened. It's not labeled. I don't know the name of the fabric. I'm not an expert on fabric by any means, especially not linen, because I tend to stitch more of my stuff on Aida fabric. So I don't know what that one is, but I'm not going to be using those pieces for the next angels in the series. I will be using Aida fabric, and I've showed this before, but Kat wanted to know what I'm going to be using for the next angels in the series, so I did buy 3 pieces of fabric for the next 3. 16 count Twilight Blue Aida. I got 25 by 36 from 123 Stitch. And I think the color match is pretty good. Pretty good. Of course, it's going to have a bit of a different texture when they're hung up on the wall, but I'll just be happy to have her done, and that'll be quite an accomplishment. Sorry, I bumped the microphone. I'm wearing a microphone, so I hope you can hear me better. It'll look a little bit different, but I'm okay with that. I'm not going to restitch her. That was an option at one point when I got really frustrated with her, but I'm not going to do that. So the next one's going to be the Angel of Spring, but I won't be starting her right away. I'm going to take a break. I don't know for how long before I pick up another one of the Lavender and Lace Angels. For the remaining 3, 16 count. Yeah. So I don't know if it was the last video or the one before, I showed you the pansy needle minders I had made with some fresh pansies from my garden. I got a couple of them. There's one more. These were done with fresh flowers, which was a bit of a challenge. And I said I wanted to try and perfect the technique of it. And this was a pressed one. So the pressed ones don't retain their color as nicely as the fresh ones do, but the fresh ones are a little bit more challenging to do. So I said I was going to do another batch of them, and I did. So this is a page of smaller ones, and you can see how the color bleeds out of them, which is fine because I'm going to cut them out anyway and you're not going to see that. But what I did was I laminated the fresh pansies onto sheets of paper towel, and then I cut it open and I peeled off the back of the laminating sheet so that the paper towel was exposed, so that these could completely dry out and so there wouldn't be any problems with mildew on them from them being fresh and wet. So these are completely dried. The color is much nicer on them. You can see a bit of the stems coming through, but it doesn't look bad. So I've let these completely dry, and I'm just waiting for a package of laminating sheets to come in the mail. And what I'm planning on doing is putting this onto a sticker, like, because once I cut it out, it's got kind of a, you know, it's going to have this sort of a paper towel stuck to the back of it. So I'm going to put it onto a sticker, like a sticky sheet, and then run it through the laminator again, so it'll be laminated on both sides. That'll make it nice and solid, not floppy. And then just put the little magnets on the back for needle minders. So it's kind of late in the season in some places for flowers. I know my pansies are starting to go to seed, some of them, and they're not looking as healthy as they were, but I might try one more batch. I think they turned out pretty good with this second try at it. So I got a question from a Carol Bajel wanting to know where I got my Dimensions kits from. I had showed my spring and summer kit stash and my wreath stash. So a lot of them I had gotten off of eBay back when I was shopping on eBay, and I did look on 123 Stitch, and they do have quite a few Dimensions kits. Maybe not the same ones that I have. Some of them might have been discontinued, but they have a really good selection on 123 Stitch. You can also check eBay. I haven't been on there for years, so I don't know whether they still have them or not. So, and then she wanted to know where I get my grime guards from. So initially I had ordered grime guards from 123 Stitch, and when I went to buy one for my little Q-snap, I ordered a 6x6, and they didn't have a very big selection. I don't know whether they're getting out of them or whether they just didn't have them in stock, very many. I needed an 8x8, but I ordered a 6x6. But anyway, so I had gotten some from 123 Stitch, but now I think if I'm in need of a grime guard, I'm just going to go to Etsy. I have found a really good Etsy store. I'm going to talk about her in a few minutes, and I'll show you the grime guard that I got from her. I received 2 more mislabeled packages in the mail. I was scared to open them. After the last 2 that I got mislabeled packages with the weird underwear in them. Anyway, just wondering if you would have been afraid to open them. I was like, what is it? I'm scared to look. So the outside of the package said fast charging wall adapter. So I wasn't, no, this might be okay. So they accidentally sent me a Samsung wall charger. I don't have a Samsung. I'm going to probably take it to work and see if anybody does. Someone might be able to make use of it. And then I got another one, which said pillow cover. So I was like, that might be actually something half decent. And it is. So it's a compass pillow cover. And I can actually use this one. I don't know if you remember me saying that if they're going to keep mislabeling packages and sending them to me, I hope they send me something I can use. This one I can use. I have a second stitchy spot upstairs, stitchy spot number 2.0, but I do have a pillow that I put by my back, so I think I'm going to leave this out, and I'm going to put that pillow cover on my pillow and use that as my back support. Let's see what I get this week. Wonder if I'll get anything good. I'm hoping they send me a laptop or an iPad. I also ordered, yes, I said off of Etsy. So I have the 17 by 17, ooh, it's big, Q-snap frame, which I was going to use for my skeleton tree embellishment. And then I thought I want to get as many of the skeleton keys and the embellishments on it as I can with it on the Q-snap, so that I don't have to stitch very much by hand, because it's going to, once I get that bulk of the embellishment done on it, it's going to be heavy, and I'm probably going to have to roll and pin it and try to, you know, manage all this with my hands while I'm trying to stitch on the little pearls and the the crystals and the, you know, the keys and that kind of thing. So I ordered a 4x4 Q-Snap extension kit from hold on. Sorry, I know with the microphone it's going to be extra crinkly, and I apologize. I want you to hear me better, but I don't want you to be annoyed by the crinkling. So I haven't tried it out yet because this is still set up here and I haven't done my pattern yet, but this will extend my 17 by 17 to a 21 by 21. So I should be able to get a good lot of that embellishment done. So I then needed, or wanted, I guess, a 21 by 21 grime guard. So I went on to Etsy and I found an Etsy seller, and she had the 17 by 17. So I contacted her and I asked her if she could do a 21 by 21. And she got right back to me almost immediately and said, yeah, I can do that. And then I got a message from her that said done and listed. So I was like, okay, sold, because I really liked the fabric that it was made out of. So I asked her if I could mention her Etsy store on my Flosstube video, and she said yes, and that she would include a couple of extra little things for me, just as a random act of kindness, just for me being kind to her. So but when she sent me the package, she asked me to please use her website name. I'll just show it to you. It's Margaret, I have to read it first, Margaret Lee Needle Art, www.margaretlee.com. I hope that focuses. I'll try and leave the information in the description bar below too. So she actually made it 5-inch wide, and it's 21 by 21 grime guard with the nebulas pattern on it. So this is dear to my heart because I absolutely love the Hubble telescope pictures that they send back, or that get sent back. The pictures of the nebulas and the different galaxies and stuff. It's actually screensavers on my computers at home and at work, and I have books about the Hubble photography, and I like it very much. So I got a little scissor holder with the same fabric, and my first actual real needle minder. I say real, I mean mine are real, but I just make them for myself. So this is the first one that I've had that's been made by someone else with the double-sided magnet with the same nebula picture on. So that's really, really nice. And then she included a needle and bead caddy, which I had a really hard time opening the first time, so I figured out I just got to slide it like that. And inside is little, they're not stuck down yet, but little magnet strips for beads and needles. And I think this will be perfect to take to work. So I don't have needles just stuck on my board at work, because I bring my work project back and forth from home. So that will be handy to have, just leave there. And then there's a Needle Park Avenue. So it's also a needle minder. So it's got the magnet on the back, and then it's a little cardboard sheet with cloth there to stick the needles in. Neater and faster, neater, more accurate by parking your working threads. Great for projects with multiple color changes, blended needles, or petit point. So this will come in handy. Actually, I can use this one right now on the angel because I'm doing a tiny bit of parking on her. And there was one more thing. It's a clear view thread stitch counters 1 and 2. So it's a stitch counter for fabric. And then I think you can also use it as a stitch counter on your project. I haven't really opened this or read the instructions yet, but so that was very nice of you, Margaret Lee. Thank you very much for that. And I will show the Q-Snap cover again once I've actually got it on the project. So let's talk about the cross stitch that I got done in the last 2 weeks. So I've been off for, this is my 11th day off. I have to go back to work tomorrow. Just for 4 days, but it was really nice to have time off. I got a couple of things done around the house and a couple of bigger errands done, and I very much enjoyed my time at home stitching, lots of stitching. So I completed, or almost completed, the Joan Elliott Designs Hope from the Dream, Hope, Believe, Imagine set. So I didn't put the beads on yet. That's the Hope. Turned out very nice. This is a DMC fabric, just in a light blue. I'm going to finish all 4 in the series, and then I'll wash them and iron them, and then I'll do the beading portion of them. I'm not going to do each one individually. I'll do them all 4 together when I'm ready to get them framed. The next one was a Donna Dewberry. Again, the Rosebud Wreath. This is a small one. I'm wondering why it takes me so long to do these small ones. Probably because I don't work on it for very long. I've been doing what I was working on this side of it. So I was doing one color thread over here, one part of the grapevine wreath here, one color over here, one part of the grapevine wreath each day. So I did complete this side of it, and I am working on the grapes here, and then I will do the roses and the leaves. And there's lots of back stitching in this one, and then a lot of French knots. I don't know if you can see those. So I will be hopefully perfecting my French knots, because I'm not very good at those. They don't come out even. I also worked on cross-country stitching, October 2003, Cranberries. I did put a picture on Instagram showing the difference between this bit here that was backstitched and before I had started backstitching this area here, just to show the difference of how much the backstitching really adds. It really brings out, well, you can see the difference between here and here, how much nicer it looks. So I don't complain about doing back stitching. I like it actually, because it really makes everything come together very nicely. You have to excuse me for 1 second. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I'm gonna continue working on this one. How much more do I have left here? I've done this. I've got the wreath, the cranberries, this, the back stitching here, and I'm going to be excluding the words here, and I'm going to put a rusted tin star in there, and possibly a couple of buttons or something like that. I'll see how much space there is when I'm done. So I worked on the Lavender and Lace Angel of Summer. This is my beat up photocopy. So I actually made some pretty good progress on her. Giving her a rest, or putting her on a rest, was a good idea. So I have been working on the dress in here. Oh, I need something behind her. There, that's better. I started working on the lower garland of her dress. So I needed to get the dress done up to here, because that's how far the garland goes, and I want to start with one color on the end, work all the way across, and then there's also garland here, here, and here. So I work one color through the garland of the dress, that portion of the garland, this portion, and then I do one little part of her dress, and then go back down and do across, and then the 3 pieces of garland, and then one more of the dress. And I'm hoping that I finish the garlands before the dress, because then it'll just be easy stitching after that. The garland is very tedious, and you know that I'm having a hard time working on this fabric, so that's making it more difficult for me. Then I'll have the gold stitching. I did part of the gold stitching. I thought I wouldn't like it, but I really did when I got at it. So the gold stitching is all through her dress here. So all these little blank spots are the gold metallic threads through there. And then the beads at the end. And I'm not sure how I'm going to set her up for beading. I might need her in a bigger Q-snap again to be able to do that. And so the most of the work that I did this week, well, I did a little bit on each of those. And then I worked on my HAED Discovery, Heaven and Earth Designs Discovery. Let's try and get the glare away. I'm going to let you read the name of the designer because I can't pronounce it. Jenna. I can say Jenna. So this is Discovery by HAED, and this is my favorite HAED that I have, and this is my favorite project that I'm working on out of all. It's 28 now. Well, I guess it's still 29 because I didn't do the beads on Hope yet, but anyway, this is my favorite project. So I thought with extra time off, I could get a good portion of her done, or good progress on her anyway. So this is coming across the bottom. It does look very red, which is surprising to me because the pattern when I looked at it didn't look that red. I don't really have red in my house. I don't, it's not a color. I prefer more of the earth tones. I already know where I'm going to hang this one, and it's not a room in my house that has a color theme or anything decorated in any particular color, so I'm going to be okay with this. When I do the matting, it's probably going to be with a black and a lighter brown to try and pull some of the black out, I guess. I don't know, I'll have to see as she stitches up, but it is showing up really red on the video. It's not quite that tone in real life, but yeah. So that's her pocket, that's the bottom of her arm, that's the portion of her shadow going across the bottom, and that's the pillar that I'm working on. So I'm working on pages because there's a partial page at the bottom. I'm working on page 40, and 47 is below that one, and 47 is just a little, like it's just a little partial page. I don't know, probably 18 rows, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So once I get done the bottom, going across the bottom of it, I think it's going to go faster because I'm not going to have to do a partial page on the bottom. It's just going to be one full page instead. So I'm working on pages 40 and then feathering over into page 40. Oh, sorry. I'm working on page 40, yeah, and feathering over into page 41 and then doing 47 and 48 as I go across. And then when I look at my stitch map, I showed you how I create a stitch map of when I'm doing a large project of the pages, because I work from the bottom, so I need to know what's above it. So I'm working on 40 and 47, and then there'll just be 2 more full pages once I finish this one. And I did do pretty good at, this is the page here, so, well, page and a bit. So that's probably about maybe not quite half done, but pretty good progress, I think, for the week. And so this is the project that I'm working on in Stitchy Spot 2.0. So when I work on her in my living room, which is my primary stitching spot, I have a long-haired white cat, and he sits beside me, but I make him sit in a bin. I don't let him sit against my clothes anymore because then it's just constant cat hair. And so when he's beside me, even if he's in the bin, I'm constantly getting cat hair in my project. And I was getting really frustrated with it. So I would do one stitch and I would notice that there's a cat hair on it. And I always keep tweezers handy attached to my grime guard. And I take out the cat hair, and then I would do another stitch and there'd be another cat hair, and I'd pull out the cat hair, and it was just, oh, I was getting so frustrated. One evening I was like, I can't even work on this. I'm so frustrated with it. So I'm working on this one upstairs. I have a Stitchy Spot 2.0 is in my bedroom, and he doesn't actually really go in there. He'll go in there if I'm in there, but he spends the majority of his time downstairs in the living room. That's kind of where all the action is, the window, and if anybody comes to the door, right? So he doesn't really spend that much time in my bedroom, and so he doesn't really get his hair. And when I go in there, I shut the door and I just sit down and stitch this, and I'll kind of shake it off a little bit, and I have my lint roller, and I'll lint roll the edges of my grime guard and stuff before I start. And it's working much better. I have an occasional cat hair in it, which I can pull out easily, and it's not quite so annoying for me. So next week, now it's going to be a short week because I'm still going to work on the HAED. Nope, changed my mind because it's Monday. I'm a day late with my video. I'm going to stop on the HAED and I'm going to go back to this week's project because it's Monday. So normally I would be at work today, but it's stat holiday, and I would be working on this one when I would get home. So I'll start on her this afternoon, or work on her this afternoon. So this is the Mirabilia Siren and the Shipwreck. So this is my next one, because this one has not been out for a while. She hasn't had any love. And that's where I am so far. Just working on the bottom part of her tail. So I'm going to see if I can finish this blue part of the tail this week. Yeah, let's see how much I can get done on her. So I'll stitch on her for the week, and then next week I'll decide what I'm going to work on. Whether I'm going to go back to focusing on finishes or go back to a HAED, because usually I alternate something other than a HAED and then go to a HAED. So I'll decide. I haven't decided yet. So that's all I have for this week. I have a mess here now I have to clean up. Thanks for joining me for the update. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. And if you want to and you haven't yet subscribed, hit the subscribe button so you'll get notifications of future videos. Leave any questions and comments down below and I will answer your comments. And I hope you all have a good week, and thanks for joining me. Bye.